Hey there, guys. So I've been getting to notice quite a pattern in the letters and messages that I've been getting on social media. And it's a general paradoxical behaviour that an eating disorder makes you display. And when I point out what they're doing is quite irrational and quite paradoxical, the person who I'm talking to doesn't realise what they're doing. And as soon as I point out what I mean by paradoxical, they do appreciate it almost straight away. And I guess the general point of this video is to make you think for a moment about what you're doing and just sort of get into a rational mindset for just a moment and think, am I doing what's best for me at this point in time? And normally the answer is no, because an eating disorder does that to you. It makes you lose all rational thinking. It makes you just stay in your own little world where you're just trying to do what is best for the eating disorder and not for yourself. So, as an example of paradoxical behaviour, the main one, the one that I receive over and over again, is this idea of not wanting to worry other people. And the main way that people say they don't want to worry other people is by letting them know that there's a problem. They say, if I just tell them, they're going to get all worried that I've got an eating disorder and I don't know what they're going to do. So they then also tell me that they ultimately begin to struggle, whether it be with over-exercising, with eating, all those kind of things. And the person that they're with, whether it be girlfriend, boyfriend, parents, friends, they say that by them struggling, the person close to them begins to worry. And can you already see that there's a bit of a disconnect here? By you not wanting to let the other person know that you're struggling, you ultimately begin to struggle a bit more. By you struggling a bit more, the other person begins to worry. So can you see that by you not wanting to let the other person know that you're struggling, they worry. So why hold it back? And normally, the other person knows that there's an issue, but because an eating disorder is almost it, the image in the public has been improving over the years, but it is still quite a taboo subject. And by that I mean people don't want to talk about it. They still think eating disorders are something that shouldn't be spoken about. So they just feel quite awkward and they don't know what to do. And they're like, should I tell this person that they're struggling? Will they lash out at me? I don't know. So they just kind of close up because they don't know what to do. You're closed up and you just begin this negative cycle. Things get worse and worse until you ultimately need professional help. So one of the things I've always said is just to try your hardest. I know it can be really difficult, but try your hardest to let someone close to you know that you're struggling. And normally by you letting them know, the other person not only feels a sense of let's try and help you out, but they feel so relieved because they've been wanting to do something for you for quite a while, but they didn't know how. So please, if you feel that you don't want to let other people know that you're struggling because you don't want to worry them, believe me, it will be the complete opposite normally. So you've just got to, I don't know where you can find the inspiration to do it, but you've just got to do what's best for you and not the eating disorder by letting them know that there's a problem. And you can then get support from other people that you are close to and that you trust. And by you not being alone, it really does help the matter. An example for me has always been my dad. And I'll give you an example. Last year, when I was in America for a month, and I'd only just come out of the eating disorder unit that I was in. And one of the things I was greatly struggling with was if I was with someone else, I wouldn't want to eat more than them because I'd be constantly comparing myself. And this extended to even my little brother who is now 13. But back then he was, 11. And obviously he wouldn't need to eat as much as I do because I'm a full grown adult. But even so, whenever he used to come to Cambridge for dinner with my dad, just for a visit, I would look at what he was eating and think, what can I eat that could be less than him? And ultimately, that meant that I was hungry after the meal, and it just wasn't a good thing for me. So when I went to America, I told my dad this, and because it was something that I was so annoyed with it, that was going on for so long, and I just hadn't gotten around it. And I said to him, "Look, I just I have been comparing myself to you, and because I was only with him for a month, I was constantly doing it." So I told him what I think it was in the first couple of days that I was there, because I didn't want this to ruin my holiday. And so I said to him, "Look, for today, whatever happens, I'm going to eat more than you, whether you like it or not." And so we went out to dinner, and we had dinner. I made sure that what I had was more than him. It was difficult, but I had him to support me there, and I felt it'd be a lot easier, because previously I'd tried it without telling anyone, and it was a failure every single time. And then after that, I decided, you know what I really want right now? I want dessert. So we then went out to a bakery, and he wasn't hungry. So I ordered a piece of pie, and I had it, and it was difficult. It was really difficult, but again, I had that support because I knew that he knew what was going through my mind, so he could support me through it. And ultimately, it really did help, because he did say to me that he'd noticed that I'd be looking at my brother's plate, or I'd be looking at other people's plates whenever it came out. So it really does help, and paradoxical thinking really is a thing. So you've just got to kind of realize it, and you can ultimately get around it. So how can you realize what you're doing is odd? Well, normally, a lot of the time, you've just got to stop for a moment. It's the way I noticed that what I was doing was odd, because you know that most of the time the eating disorder behaviours aren't what you used to normally do, and you've sort of fine-tuned your behaviours over time to let the eating disorder sort of take over. So if you can just think about, what am I doing now that I wasn't doing a few months ago, and if you can list it, and try and be as specific as possible, related to a specific situation. What makes you feel anxious as well? Just try and list all these things down, and also just then have a look at it and think, which one of these are actually eating disorder behaviours, and which one of these might be normal, and just try and work on them as a list, and with time you'll find it a lot easier. And the reason is because if you can sort of circumvent one behaviour, one abnormal behaviour, you know that you can do it. So if you can then move on to the next item of your list, you're already motivated to carry on. And this is something that I did, it's something that I've been recommending other people to do, and they say that it does work for them. So it might work for you. And if you do find it useful, please let me know. And if you want any other specific things to talk to me about, please feel free to message me, and I will be posting my personal address in an upcoming blog video. So we'll just try and sort that out together, really. So yeah, that's the end of this video. If you've got any other questions related to it, please let me know. But for now, see you later.